The first thing Kai learned about owning a mysterious starship was that half the galaxy suddenly wanted it. 23 hours and 41 minutes remained. That countdown hovered silently in the corner of his vision, projected by the cosmic exchange system. Horizon must fly within 24 hours. No explanation. No helpful instructions. Just another impossible requirement. Below the countdown, another line pulsed calmly. Claim status, pending review. Asset status, disputed. Connection status, preserved. Kai stared at the messages while security personnel escorted him through the upper levels of Horizon's salvage yard. Around him, the station no longer felt like the forgotten scrapyard he had arrived at yesterday. Emergency lights flashed along the corridors. Security checkpoints had doubled. Dock access was restricted. Every terminal displayed warning notices. Outside the station windows, 3 unidentified ships remained suspended above the dead moon, like predators circling wounded prey. Nobody knew who they were. That alone was enough to make everyone nervous. A security officer scanned Kai's identification chip. The officer frowned. "Route analyst?" Kai nodded. The officer looked toward the station window. Then, back at Kai. Then toward the window again. "You caused all this?" "I don't think so." The officer pointed toward the dead moon. "The unidentified fleet arrived after you." He pointed toward another warning screen. "The legal dispute started after you." Then, toward Dock Ring 12. "The attempted theft happened after you." Kai considered the evidence. "That is unfortunate timing." The officer stared at him. "You route people are weird." Kai accepted that as a compliment. The hearing chamber occupied one of the station's oldest administrative sectors. The room had probably been built decades before the salvage yard itself became obsolete. Dark, metal walls. A circular table. A cracked station emblem mounted above the hearing platform. The atmosphere felt less like a courtroom and more like a meeting room nobody wanted to use. When Kai entered, several people were already present. The auction supervisor sat near the far end of the table, looking as if he had not slept. 3 legal clerks worked through stacks of digital records. 2 security officers guarded the entrance. And seated alone near the observation window was the silver-haired woman. Golden eyes. Calm posture. Unreadable expression. She looked toward him briefly before returning her attention to the stars beyond the glass. Kai took a seat. Juno immediately dropped into the chair beside him. Nobody had invited her. That had not stopped her. The auction supervisor rubbed his temples. "Who is she?" "My pilot, Dot." Juno nodded confidently. "Also, emotional support." The supervisor looked exhausted enough to accept that explanation. Minutes later, the hearing began. An elderly administrator entered carrying a stack of physical documents. Physical. Document. Not digital. That alone told Kai something important. The ownership records surrounding Horizon were old enough that someone no longer trusted electronic archives. The administrator sat heavily, opened the first file, and immediately frowned. That was not encouraging. The room remained silent. The man opened another file, frowned again, then a third. His frown deepened. Finally he sighed. "Why is it always ancient ships?" Nobody answered. The administrator continued. "Official record states the vessel known as Horizon was recovered from Frontier Survey Corridor 9. The room remained quiet. "The vessel was sold during salvage auction 479. He turned a page. "Transfer. Blocked due to unresolved historical ownership conflicts." Another page. Another pause. Then his expression became strange. Confused. Almost annoyed. He adjusted his glasses. "Read the file again." Read it a third time. Finally he looked up. "Who filed the reconnection claim?" Kai raised his hand. The administrator nodded. "Route analyst?" "Yes. You understand this situation is highly irregular?" "I assumed as much." "Good." The administrator seemed relieved. At least one person in the room understood reality. He activated the central display. A registry timeline appeared above the table. Ownership records stretched backward across decades. Corporations, private operators, salvage firms, transport companies, individual captains. The timeline continued, and continued, and continued. Longer than it should have. The administrator tapped the display. This is where things become problematic. Several sections of the ownership timeline vanished. Entire decades disappeared. Then reappeared. Then disappeared again. Corrupted data. Broken archives. Missing records. The timeline resembled a route map damaged by solar storms. Juno leaned toward Kai Data. That doesn't seem normal. No. Good. The administrator sighed again. The ship's registry is older than the vessel's recorded construction date. Silence filled the room. Even the legal clerk stopped typing. The administrator looked personally offended by the existence of this problem. That should be impossible. Kai felt the silver-haired woman's attention shift toward the display. Just slightly. But enough. Interesting. This information was new to her too. The administrator enlarged the corrupted sections. Several labels appeared. Most were unreadable. One remained partially intact. Route, survey vessel. Another. Nyao. Long-distance connection initiative. The final label was mostly destroyed. Only one word remained. Architectural. The administrator shook his head. No surviving records explain what that means. The word lingered above the table. Architectural.v. Not architect. Not yet. But Kai felt the cosmic exchange system pulse once. A subtle reaction. Gone almost immediately. Nobody else noticed. The hearing continued. The administrator reviewed claims. Salvage ownership. Auction transfer rights. Debt recovery contracts. Private acquisition licenses. The silver-haired woman finally spoke. My contract remains valid. Her voice was calm. Controlled. Professional. The vessel was acquired through a legal auction. The administrator nodded. Normally, yes. Normally, the reconnection claim changes classification. Silence returned. The silver-haired woman's expression remained composed. But Kai noticed her fingers tighten slightly against the table. The administrator continued. If Horizon qualifies as a historical route survey asset, standard salvage law no longer applies. The room became very quiet. Kai suddenly understood why the system had led him toward the claim. Not because it guaranteed victory. Because it changed the battlefield. The contest was no longer about ownership. It was about classification. Different rules. Different authorities. Different opportunities. The administrator turned toward Kai. Your claim remains active. Juno smiled. The silver-haired woman did not. However, the smile vanished immediately. Kai disliked hearing that word. The administrator looked down at his notes. To maintain the claim, operational relevance must be demonstrated. Kai already knew this. The system had told him. But hearing it from a legal authority made it more real. The administrator tapped the display. Horizon appeared above the table. Damaged hull. Ancient systems. Partial functionality. The ship looked just as stubborn as before. If the vessel cannot fulfill its intended role, the historical classification may be revoked. Kai asked the obvious question. What was its intended role? The administrator stared at the file. Then frowned. Then stared harder. That information is missing. Even he sounded irritated. The room remained silent. An important ship. What? An ancient registry. A historical claim. And nobody knew what the ship had originally been designed to do. That felt dangerous. Outside the observation window, something moved. One of the unidentified ships shifted position above the moon. The hearing chamber's sensors immediately reacted. Warning icons appeared. Security personnel straightened. The administrator looked annoyed. Again. What now? A station officer entered hurriedly. Sir, what? We received a transmission. The officer looked uncertain. Very uncertain. From the unidentified fleet. The room became still. The administrator rubbed his forehead. Of course we did. What should we do? The officer hesitated. Sir, they are requesting access to Horizon. Nobody spoke. The silver-haired woman's eyes narrowed. Kai watched carefully. The administrator sighed. No? Sir? No. The officer blinked. Just no? Yes. The administrator leaned back. Tell them ownership remains disputed. Yes, sir. Tell them access is denied. Yes, sir. The officer nodded. Then hesitated again. The administrator closed his eyes. What? The officer swallowed. They included an authorization code. For the first time since entering the room. Genuine concern appeared on the administrator's face. What kind of authorization code? The officer looked toward the display, then toward Horizon's image, then back toward the administrator. His voice dropped almost to a whisper. An ancient recovery authorization. Nobody moved. The room felt colder. Even Juno stopped joking. The officer continued. The code predates the Solaris Empire. Silence. The administrator slowly stood. The silver-haired woman stood too. Kai felt the system pulse sharply. Not once. Twice. 3 times. The golden interface appeared. Warning. Dior. External claimant identified. Connection status unstable. Then another line appeared beneath it. A line Kai had never seen before. Priority holder detected. For a moment, nobody in the room spoke. Nobody breathed. Nobody understood. Outside the station, the 3 unidentified ships changed formation simultaneously. And somewhere deep inside Horizon's damaged hull, a dormant system finally woke up. Horizon woke up before anyone touched it. That was the part no one could explain. One moment. The damaged transport vessel sat silent inside Dock Ring 12, wrapped in warning lights, legal disputes, unpaid debts, and too many claims from people who wanted it for reasons they refused to explain. The next moment, every dead panel across its hull flickered once. Not blue. Not red. Gold. Don't die. The color pulsed through the old ship's seams like blood returning to a body that had been declared dead too early. Inside the hearing chamber, nobody spoke. Kai stood beside the circular table, watching the live dock feed as the ancient recovery authorization code repeated silently across the station's security system. The auction supervisor had gone pale. The administrator looked as if someone had personally insulted every law he had ever studied. Juno leaned closer to Kai and whispered, "Ships are not supposed to wake up during legal hearings, right?" "No." "Good. Just checking." The silver-haired woman remained standing near the window, her golden eyes fixed on Horizon's image. Her expression was controlled, but not calm. Kai could see the difference now. She had come to Horizon's salvage yard believing she knew more than everyone else. Now, the ship had surprised her too. That mattered. The administrator recovered first. "Seal all registry access." A clerk looked up in alarm. "Sir, now, Dottie." The order was useless. The moment the clerk touched the console, the central display changed by itself. The ownership timeline of Horizon expanded across the room again. Then, it began to rewrite. Records that had been missing moments ago reappeared as broken fragments. Names dissolved into unreadable symbols. Dates collapsed into corrupted chains. Entire ownership periods shifted backward, then forward, then vanished, as if the archive itself could not decide what history was supposed to be. Kai watched every change. Not like a soldier watching a threat. Like a root analyst watching a broken map repair itself in the wrong direction. The administrator's voice tightened. That should not be possible. Juno looked at Kai Denai. "People keep saying that around the ship." Kai did not answer. His attention was on the oldest layer of the registry. The ship's official construction date was 83 years ago. But beneath that date was another record. Then another. Then another. Each older than the last. Not full ownership files. Fragments. Docking traces. Survey permissions. Long-range route approvals. Cargo exemptions. Maintenance codes. It was like finding footprints in dust, except the footprints belonged to someone who had walked through the room before the building existed. The cosmic exchange system appeared at the edge of Kai's vision. Registry instability increasing. Historical connection fragments detected. Authority insufficient for full access. Kai's jaw tightened slightly. Authority insufficient. Again. The system always knew more than it said. It had led him here. It had pushed him into the auction. It had guided him toward the legal claim. But whenever Horizon's true nature came close to the surface, the system became a locked door. Kai did not hate that. Not entirely. A tool that revealed everything would make him careless. A tool that withheld information forced him to earn every answer. Still, he would have appreciated slightly less ancient mystery and slightly more practical help, while 3 unidentified ships waited outside. The administrator pointed toward the central display. Freeze that section. Clark tried. The timeline stuttered, then stabilized around one broken registry entry. Most of it was unreadable. Only a few words remained. Route, survey, vessel. Outer chain initiative. Connection preservation class. The room fell silent again. The administrator read the words twice. Then a third time. Connection preservation class. The phrase felt strange in the mouth of modern law. Too old. Too precise. Too close to the words the system had shown Kai since the night Convoy 17A was attacked. Restore the connection. Connection preserved. Connection unstable. Kai felt a cold thread run through him. Horizon was not merely old. It had been built for something that matched the system's language. Juno whispered, "Connection preservation sounds important." "It sounds like a purpose," Kai said. The silver-haired woman turned slightly. "You understand it?" "No. But you recognize the pattern." Kai looked at her. She had noticed too much. Her gaze did not move away. "You are not just guessing, are you?" Kai said nothing. Sometimes silence was safer than a lie. The administrator tapped the table. "Enough. We need the source file." One of the clerks hesitated. "The source file is stored in the deep registry archive." "Then, open it." The clerk's face tightened. "Sir, deep registry access requires physical confirmation from the vessel." Kai looked toward Horizon's live feed. Physical confirmation. Of course. Dead records could only be repaired by the object they belonged to. A route could not be proven from a map alone. Someone had to travel it. The administrator looked at the security officers. "Prepare an inspection team." The silver-haired woman spoke calmly. "I will accompany them." "No." Her eyes moved to him. The administrator did not flinch. "This is now an active legal dispute involving an ancient recovery code, a reconnection claim, and unidentified armed vessels outside my station. No private claimant enters that ship without authorization." She stared at him for a long moment. "Then authorize me." "No, Dio." Juno looked impressed. "I like him." The administrator turned toward Kai. "You will accompany the inspection team." Juno's smile vanished. "I liked him less." Kai looked at the administrator. "Why me?" "Because your reconnection claim triggered a classification dispute. If the vessel requires claimant confirmation, you are currently the only claimant recognized by the hearing system." The silver-haired woman's expression cooled. Kai understood immediately. This was not trust. This was procedure. The administrator was not choosing Kai because he believed in him. He was choosing Kai because old frontier law had trapped everyone in a narrow corridor, and Kai happened to be standing in the only legal path forward. Kai almost smiled. Bureaucracy had become terrain, and for once, The terrain favored him. The administrator continued. You will not touch anything without permission. Understood. You will not attempt to activate the vessel. Understood. You will not make any legal claims inside the ship without review. Kai paused. Juno glanced at him. The administrator's eyes narrowed. Kai, I heard you. That was not agreement. It was acknowledgement. Juno covered her mouth. The administrator looked as if he suddenly understood why Commander Dane had wanted Kai removed from active routing. A few minutes later, they descended toward Dock Ring 12. The salvage yard felt different now. Before, it had been a decaying station filled with desperate buyers and forgotten machines. Now every corridor seemed to listen. Security officers moved in tense groups. Salvage workers whispered near sealed bulkheads. Warning lights blinked over locked doors. Through observation windows, the three unidentified ships outside the dead moon remained motionless. Their dark silhouettes angled toward the dock like knives waiting for permission to fall. Kai walked between two security officers. Juno followed behind, still insisting that any inspection involving Kai automatically required his pilot for safety reasons. The administrator had rejected that argument 3 times. Juno had ignored him 3 times. Eventually, everyone accepted she was coming. The silver-haired woman walked several steps behind them with 2 station guards between her and Kai. She had not protested further. That made Kai more cautious, not less. People like her did not give up. They recalculated. Dock Ring 12 opened before them. Horizon waited in the center of the berth. Up close, the ship looked even worse than before. Scarred hull, uneven plating, burned engine housing, maintenance seams sealed with cheap frontier alloys. But the gold pulse had changed everything. Now the damage looked less like decay and more like layers of burial. As if the ship had spent decades wearing ugliness as camouflage. The inspection bridge extended toward the side airlock. A salvage technician checked the seal. Airlock power is unstable. The lead security officer frowned. Can it open? Yes. Can it close? The technician hesitated. Juno sighed. That is not the kind of pause I like before entering a ship. Kai approached the airlock. The cosmic exchange system pulsed faintly. Proximity confirmed. Asset response detected. Claimant presence recognized. The outer airlock opened. Cold air spilled out. Not the stale warmth of a working transport. Cold. Dry. Ancient. Dotted. Kai stepped inside. The interior lights flickered one by one as the inspection team entered. Horizon's corridor was narrow, with exposed cables along the ceiling and old repair panels bolted across sections of the wall. Dust floated in the weak light. The floor trembled faintly beneath their boots, as if the ship was remembering how to breathe. Juno looked around. I take back every joke I made about this ship. Kai glanced at her. Really? No. But I will make them more respectfully. The lead security officer raised a scanner. Power readings inconsistent. The salvage technician checked his tablet. Some systems are active. They shouldn't be. Kai moved slowly along the corridor. He did not touch the walls. He did not need to. The route of the ship was already visible in small details. A transport vessel built for ordinary cargo prioritized storage. Horizon did not. Its corridors were too reinforced. Its internal compartments were arranged around protected data lines. Its emergency power conduits ran deeper than civilian standards required. The ship had cargo space, yes. But cargo had not been its heart. Navigation had. Kai stopped at a junction. 3 paths split ahead. Left led toward the cargo hold. Right toward engineering. Center toward the bridge. The security officer pointed left. We start with the hold. Kai said no. Everyone looked at him. He pointed toward the center corridor. If the deep registry requires physical confirmation, it will be tied to the navigation core or bridge systems. Cargo comes later. The officer frowned. You are not in command here. No. But if you search a route survey vessel like a cargo hauler, you'll waste time. The salvage technician looked at his scanner. Then, reluctantly nodded. Navigation Corps readings are strongest toward the bridge. The security officer was clearly unhappy, but he changed direction. They moved toward the bridge. As they walked, the ship lights brightened slightly. Not enough to feel welcoming, enough to feel aware. The silver-haired woman, still guarded behind them, spoke for the first time since entering. "You feel it too." Kai did not turn. "Feel what?" "The ship watching." Juno stiffened. "Please don't say things like that inside the ship." The woman ignored her. "Horizon has rejected every owner who treated it as salvage." Kai stopped walking. That matched the records. Every owner had failed to scrap it, failed to keep it, failed to understand it. Kai looked back at her. "How do you know that?" "Because I followed the same ghosts you did." "Then why did you try to buy it as salvage?" Her golden eyes held his. "Because I had more money than you." Juno whispered, "Fair." Kai continued forward. The bridge door stood at the end of the corridor. It was sealed. No handle. No visible manual release. Only a dark panel embedded in the center. The technician stepped forward. Power lock. He connected a tool. The panel stayed dark. Dead. The system appeared. Bridge access sealed. Claimant verification required. Kai looked at the words. Then at the dark panel. The lead officer noticed. "What?" Kai chose his words carefully. "It may require claimant confirmation." The administrator's warning echoed in his memory. "Do not make any legal claims inside the ship without review." Kai looked at the security officer. "Permission to attempt access under current claim. Status." The officer hesitated, then opened a comm channel. After a tense exchange with the administrator, he nodded. "Granted. Do not do anything beyond opening the door." Kai stepped forward. He raised his hand. The moment his fingers touched the panel, gold light spread beneath his palm. Not bright. Not dramatic. Soft. Like an old system recognizing a forgotten password. The bridge door opened. Air moved past them. The bridge of horizon was dark. Then, the stars appeared. Not outside the window. Inside. A holographic map unfolded across the bridge, filling the air with countless golden points. Lines stretched between them. Some were broken. Some dim. Some pulsed faintly, as if waiting for repair. Kai stood frozen. It was not a modern navigation display. Modern maps showed owned territory, patrol routes, safe lanes, fuel depots, and active gateways. This map showed connections. Living connections. Dying connections. Lost connections. The technician whispered, "What is this?" No one answered. Kai took one step inside. The map shifted. The Orion frontier appeared. Vera Station. Horizon. Salvage yard. The Lumaris drift. Then, dozens of routes around them flickered red. Unstable. Broken. Failing. The cosmic exchange system reacted sharply. Unauthorized map fragment detected. Connection archive partially active. Authority insufficient. The words repeated. Authority insufficient. Kai stared at the golden map, and for the first time, he understood the shape of the problem. Horizon was not only a ship, it was a witness. It remembered routes the galaxy had forgotten. The silver-haired woman stepped into the bridge despite the guard's attempt to stop her. Her face had gone pale. "That map," she whispered. Kai looked at her. "You've seen it before." She did not answer. Then the bridge speakers crackled. Static filled the room. The golden map trembled. A voice emerged. Old. Distorted. Not speaking Solaris standard. Yet Kai understood it. Connection vessel Horizon responding to priority recovery code. All unauthorized successors will be evaluated. Juno slowly turned toward Kai. "Kai, I heard it. No, look." At the center of the bridge, the captain's seat lit up. A circular symbol appeared above it. the same golden symbol that had flashed across Horizon's cockpit glass. Then, the ship's dormant system spoke again. Trial Protocol Awakening. Candidate 1 detected. Candidate 2 detected. External Priority Claimant detected. The bridge lights turned gold. The security officer raised his weapon. The silver-haired woman stared at the captain's seat. Kai felt the cosmic exchange system pulse like a warning bell. Then Horizon's main display changed. Outside the salvage yard, the 3 unidentified ships activated their weapons. And the ancient voice gave its final announcement. First trial begins in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Jet's mind. The ancient ship intended to change the fate of everyone aboard within 10 minutes. Outside Horizon's salvage yard, 3 unidentified warships activated their weapons systems simultaneously. Across Vera Station, emergency alarms exploded into life. Red warning lights flooded corridors. Docking traffic froze. Cargo operations halted. Thousands of workers stopped what they were doing and looked toward the dead moon. Nobody needed military training to understand what it meant when armed ships powered weapons inside station engagement range. Someone was preparing for war. Inside Horizon's bridge, nobody moved. The golden map still floated above the ancient navigation core. Broken routes, dying connections, forgotten pathways stretching through regions modern star charts no longer recognized. The bridge lights cast long shadows across the room. The lead security officer finally recovered first. Everyone away from the navigation platform. His weapon remained raised. Not toward Horizon. Toward uncertainty. That was usually the more dangerous target. The officer opened a station-wide communication channel. Bridge team to administration. We have a situation. Static answered. Then the administrator's tired voice arrived. I assume that means a bigger situation than the armed fleet outside. Much bigger. A pause followed. Wonderful. The bridge speakers crackled again. Not the station system. Horizon. High. The ancient voice returned. Trial candidates confirmed. Recovery Authority conflict detected. Evaluation protocol. Active. 9 minutes remaining. Then silence. The message disappeared. No explanation followed. No instructions. Just another countdown. Juno looked around the bridge. I hate ancient civilizations. You don't know anything about them. I know they keep leaving countdowns. That was difficult to argue with. Kai stepped closer to the golden route map. But God. The security officer immediately noticed. I said stay back. Kai stopped. The officer relaxed slightly. Then Kai pointed toward the floating routes. Look at the map. Everyone did. For a few seconds, nobody understood. Then the technician frowned. The routes. Kai nodded. The map is changing. The technician moved closer. It was subtle. Almost impossible to notice. Some routes remained dim. Some remained broken. But others were brightening. One route near Vera Station pulsed, faintly. Another route beyond the Lumeris drift flickered gold. A third route deep within frontier space brightened for half a second before fading again. The map was responding to something. Or someone. The silver-haired woman stared at the display, then spoke quietly. It is evaluating us. Nobody laughed. The statement sounded ridiculous, which was exactly why it felt true. Kai studied the changing routes. Evaluation. Not combat. Not ownership. Evaluation. That word mattered. People often focused on what was happening. Kai preferred focusing on why. Ancient systems did not invent random rules. Every system reflected purpose. A military vessel tested combat ability. A trade network tested value. A route survey vessel tested navigation. The thought settled in his mind. Interesting. Very interesting. The cosmic exchange system pulsed softly. Observation acknowledged. Dawa. No further information appeared. Kai was becoming increasingly convinced the system enjoyed being unhelpful. A station transmission suddenly interrupted the bridge. Priority alert. Dasi. Pigmentoi. Ibnor. Human identified fleet requesting communication. Priority alert. Unidentified fleet requesting communication. The lead officer immediately accepted. A holographic figure appeared above the bridge floor. Tall. Gray uniform. Silver insignia. Dedatiu. Middle-aged. Calm Deja. The man carried himself with the confidence of someone accustomed to command. Not a pirate. Not a scavenger. Not a mercenary. A professional. The entire bridge became silent. The officer spoke first. Identify yourself. The hologram looked around the bridge. His gaze lingered on the golden map. Something changed in his expression. Not surprise. Recognition. Then he answered. Commander Hale. No organization. No fleet designation. No explanation. Just a name. That alone told Kai plenty. People who possessed authority rarely needed introductions. Commander Hale continued. The vessel Horizon belongs to our organization. The administrator's voice immediately joined the channel. Current legal review disagrees. The commander's expression remained calm. You possess incomplete information. So does everyone else. Correct. That answer surprised the room. The commander was not pretending certainty. Interesting. Very interesting. Kai watched carefully. The man was choosing his words with unusual precision. The administrator spoke again. You submitted an ancient recovery authorization. Yes. The code predates modern registry systems. Also correct. The administrator sighed. Today has been exhausting. For the first time. Something resembling amusement touched the commander's face. Only briefly. Then, it vanished. His attention shifted toward Kai. Directly toward Kai Dai. Not the officers. Not the administrator. Kai Desh. The room noticed. Juno noticed. The silver-haired woman noticed. Kai definitely noticed. Commander Hale studied him. A root analyst. Kai nodded. The commander's gaze sharpened slightly. The claimant. Apparently. Another pause. Then Commander Hale asked a question nobody expected. Why did Horizon choose you? The room became very quiet. Kai felt every eye turn toward him. Even the bridge seemed to wait. The problem was simple. He had no idea. The commander continued watching him. Not aggressively. Not threateningly. Like someone studying a route that refused to make sense. Finally, Kai answered honestly. I don't know. The commander's expression did not change. But somehow the answer seemed to satisfy him. Interesting. Very interesting. The conversation continued. The administrator folded his arms. What exactly is your organization? The commander's gaze shifted away from Kai. We preserve historical recovery assets. That sounds made up. Most people say that. Juno whispered. I was going to say that. The commander ignored her. We tracked Horizon for years. Why? No answer came. Instead, Commander Hale looked toward the golden route map again. The silence lasted long enough to become meaningful. When he finally spoke, his voice was softer. Because some things should not disappear. The bridge fell silent. The statement sounded simple. Yet, something beneath it felt heavier. Older. The silver-haired woman suddenly spoke. You are from the Continuum. For the first time, Commander Hale looked surprised. Only slightly. But enough. The bridge reacted immediately. Kai noticed. So did everyone else. The commander's eyes narrowed. And who are you? The silver-haired woman smiled faintly. I asked first. The tension shifted. Suddenly the bridge contained two people who clearly knew more than they were willing to admit. Commander Hale studied her. She studied him. Neither blinked. Neither retreated. The atmosphere became dangerous, without a single weapon being fired. Kai quietly stored the information away. Unknown fleet. Continuum. Dotty. Ancient recovery codes. Historical assets. More pieces. Still not enough answers. The station alarm suddenly changed tone. Every person on the bridge froze. The security officer checked his terminal. Then cursed. The administrator's voice returned. What happened? The officer looked up. His face had gone pale. Dock Ring 7. What about it? We just lost power. The bridge grew silent. Another alarm sounded. Then, another. Then, another. Dock Ring 8. Dock Ring 9 Tara. Dock Ring 11. Sections of the station were shutting down one after another. Like lights going dark along a failing highway. Kai's eyes immediately moved toward the route map. The golden routes. The brightening connections. The evaluation. A possibility formed. Not certainty. Possibility. The best kind of clue. The station officer looked terrified. System failures are spreading. The administrator sounded furious. Find the cause. We're trying. Then Horizon's voice returned. 8 minutes remaining. Connection test, beginning. The route map shifted. One golden path expanded. A single route emerged from the display. It stretched across Vera Station. Across the salvage yard. Across dormant infrastructure that nobody had touched in decades. Kai stared. The failing dock rings. The spreading outages. The route out. The station was not being attacked. Something was being activated. And if he was right, the entire station had unknowingly become part of Horizon's trial. Commander Hale saw it too. The silver-haired woman saw it. For the first time since entering Horizon, Kai realized everyone in the room had been asking the wrong question. The question was never, who owns Horizon? The real question was, what happens when Horizon wakes up? Then the golden route reached the center of Vera Station. A location marked by an ancient symbol. A symbol absent from every modern station. Blueprint. The bridge lights flickered. The symbol brightened. And somewhere deep beneath the station, something answered. Something beneath Vera Station woke up. The realization hit Kai before anyone else in the room spoke. Not because he was smarter. Not because of the system. Because everyone else was looking at Horizon. Kai was looking at the route. The difference mattered. The golden pathway stretching across the station continued expanding through the holographic map. ... Ancient infrastructure nodes illuminated one after another, like lights awakening along a forgotten highway. Dock Ring 7. Dock Ring 8. Dock Ring 9. Dock Ring 11. Then deeper. Far deeper. Beyond the operational sections of the station. Beyond the salvage yards. Beyond the commercial districts. Into sectors that modern station records barely referenced anymore. The route did not move randomly. It followed a purpose. Kai felt a familiar sensation. The same feeling he experienced when analyzing convoy traffic. The same feeling he experienced when tracing pirate ambush routes. A route always told a story. If someone knew how to read it. The bridge lights dimmed again. 7 minutes remaining. Connection test progressing. The ancient voice echoed through the ship. Nobody liked hearing it. The lead security officer especially seemed one message away from developing a personal grudge against extinct civilizations. The administrator's voice erupted through the communication channel. I want every engineering team mobilized immediately. A station engineer answered. We don't know what we're looking for. Then start looking harder. The engineer seemed unable to argue with that logic. The communication ended. Commander Hale remained calm. Almost suspiciously calm. The man watched the expanding route map with the expression of someone observing a familiar process. Kai noticed. The silver-haired woman noticed too. Commander Hale noticed them noticing. Nobody commented. The silence became its own conversation. Juno finally broke it. What exactly is a connection test? Nobody answered. She pointed toward Hale. You. The commander looked at her. I do not know. That was fast. It was also true. Juno narrowed her eyes. You're hiding something. I am hiding many things. At least he's honest. Kai almost smiled. Almost. The route map continued changing. A new cluster of golden points appeared near the station's lower maintenance levels. The technician studying the display frowned. Those sectors shouldn't exist. Everyone looked at him. The technician enlarged the map. Dot. Several maintenance corridors appeared. Then, service shafts. Then, storage zones. Then, something else. A section of the station hidden beneath modern architecture. The room fell silent. The technician swallowed. These structures aren't on any current blueprint. The administrator immediately returned to the channel. Explain. I can't. Try. The technician pointed toward the display. The station was expanded multiple times over. The last century. Everyone knows that. Apparently not everyone. The technician zoomed further. Ancient station layers emerged beneath modern construction. Like archaeological ruins buried beneath a city. Vera Station was larger than anyone realized. Older than anyone realized. And something buried inside it had just responded to Horizon. The cosmic exchange system pulsed softly. Connection node detected. Node status dormant. Authority insufficient. Dot. Kai was beginning to suspect the phrase authority insufficient was the system's favorite sentence. The bridge suddenly shook. Not violently. Just enough to make everyone lose their balance for a moment. The station groaned. Metal echoed through distant corridors. Far below them, machinery that had not moved in decades awakened. The security officer checked his terminal. Power draw increasing. The technician stared at his readings. It shouldn't have access to station energy. But it does, apparently. Nobody liked that answer. Another alarm activated. Then, another. The station's central network began reporting failures across multiple districts. Cargo elevators. Maintenance grids. Communication relays. Environmental regulators. Systems connected to the ancient route were waking up. Everything else was struggling to compensate. Kai watched the pattern. The route. The power flow. The infrastructure. A possibility formed. The station was not failing. The station was reallocating. The distinction mattered. A route analyst learned it early that traffic congestion and route optimization often looked identical to people who only saw surface effects. He stepped toward the holographic map. The security officer started to object, then stopped. Everyone wanted answers, even if they came from a suspended route analyst. Kai pointed toward the illuminated pathways. The power isn't disappearing. The technician frowned. It is. No. Kai highlighted several sectors. Look again. The technician checked, then checked again. His eyes widened. The numbers changed. The energy was not being lost. It was moving. Like water flowing through channels. Like cargo shifting through logistics hubs. Like traffic redirected around a blockade. The route itself was consuming resources. The station was feeding something. Commander Hale finally spoke. Good. Everyone looked at him. The commander ignored them. His attention remained fixed on the route. Kai noticed. Good. Not surprising. Not concerning. Good. That told him more than any explanation. The commander had seen this before. Not necessarily this station. Not necessarily this ship. But something close. The silver-haired woman folded her arms. Your organization knows what is happening. No, you know enough. The commander's gaze shifted toward her. Perhaps. The tension between them sharpened. Kai stored the observation away. Information mattered. Especially information people tried to hide. The bridge speakers crackled again. 6 minutes remaining. Connection node. Activation. Beginning. The holographic route expanded deeper into the station. Then stopped. A single point began glowing beneath the station core. One location. One destination. One objective. The entire route converged there. Kai studied it carefully. Every route existed for a reason. Every route connected something valuable. Trade, divide, resources, infrastructure, information, people, show, pesutyatkami. This route connected Horizon to something buried beneath Vera Station. The route itself was the clue, and clues could be analyzed. The station administrator apparently reached the same conclusion. A new communication arrived. Bridge, team. Kai recognized the voice immediately. Report. The lead officer responded. We've identified the route destination. Good. The administrator sounded relieved. Then suspicious. What's there? Nobody answered. The technician checked. The security officer checked a dot. The station database checked . Nothing new. No modern record existed. No official designation. No active infrastructure. No registered facility. Just empty space beneath the station. The administrator sounded increasingly irritated. There has to be something. Kai studied the route. Then, the station layers. Then, the ancient architecture beneath them. Finally, he spoke. There is. The room turned toward him. What? Kai pointed toward the destination. If the route exists, then something exists. The administrator sounded unconvinced. That's your analysis. It's enough. The administrator groaned. Juno nodded. That's actually very Kai. Then another voice interrupted. Not Horizon. Not the station. Commander Hale. The man stared at the destination marker. For the first time, genuine concern crossed his face. A tiny crack in his composure. But enough. Kai noticed. The silver-haired woman noticed. Everyone noticed. The commander whispered something. Very quietly. Almost too quietly to hear. Almost. The node survived. The bridge became silent. The silver-haired woman's eyes widened slightly. The administrator immediately responded. What node? No answer. The commander remained silent. The question hung in the air. What node? What connection? What had survived? The station suddenly shook again. Harder this time. Warning sirens erupted throughout Vera Station. Emergency reports flooded the network. A security officer cursed. The technician went pale. The administrator sounded alarmed. What happened now? The answer arrived immediately. A station-wide alert filled every display. Unauthorized excavation detected. Sector Omega-19 Tatoine. Deep infrastructure layer. The bridge fell silent. Kai looked toward the destination marker. Omega-19 Tatoine. The exact location where the road ended. Someone else had reached it first. Then another message appeared. Unknown personnel detected. Multiple hostiles confirmed. The 3 unidentified ships outside the station had not come merely to claim Horizon. They had already sent people inside. And somewhere beneath Vera Station, hidden inside forgotten infrastructure older than the Solaris Empire itself, a race had begun. 5 minutes remained. And Horizon's trial had just turned into a competition. 5 minutes. Somewhere beneath Vera Station, unknown hostiles were racing towards something older than the Solaris Empire. And for the first time since Horizon awakened, Kai realized the trial might not be about the ship at all. It might be about reaching the destination first. The moment the thought formed, the route map shifted again. The golden pathway brightened. Omega-19 pulsed. Then, a second route appeared. Then a third. The ancient map expanded across the bridge. Dozens of maintenance tunnels. Abandoned transit shafts. Forgotten service corridors. Emergency infrastructure routes buried beneath a century of station expansion. The station's hidden skeleton revealed itself. The lead security officer stared. The technician stared. Even the administrator fell silent. Kai didn't. Because this part finally made sense. A route. A destination. Competing groups. Limited time. This was not a mystery anymore. It was logistics. And logistics always followed rules. The ancient voice echoed through the bridge. 4 minutes and 52 seconds remaining. Candidate access pathways available. Immediately, several routes turned gold. The bridge exploded into noise. The administrator shouted through the comm channel. Security teams to Omega 19 immediately. A second voice interrupted. Which route? The room froze. Because it was a good question. A very good question. The station had just revealed dozens. Some were direct. Some were longer. Some crossed unstable sectors. Some passed through power distribution hubs currently shutting down, doubting. There was no obvious answer. The administrator hesitated. And hesitation was expensive. Commander Hale stepped forward. Route Delta 7, Tardal. Everyone turned toward him. The commander pointed toward a corridor chain cutting through the station's lower maintenance layers. Fastest route. The security officer immediately started transmitting the order. Wait. The voice came from Kai. The officer stopped. The room turned toward him. Commander Hale studied him calmly. You disagree? Kai looked at the route. Then the station overlay. Then the power flow. Then the maintenance grid. Something felt wrong. Not impossible. Just wrong. The difference mattered. He enlarged the map. Delta 7 was indeed the shortest path. The most direct. The most efficient. Which was exactly why he disliked it. How many teams would choose Delta 7? The room went quiet. The commander answered immediately. Most. Exactly. Kai highlighted 3 converging maintenance corridors. Every route analyst would choose it. The security officer frowned. So? Kai pointed toward the convergence point. A narrow maintenance junction. A bottleneck. A choke point. A place where 3 routes became one. The realization spread through the room. Commander Hale's eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. Very interesting. The security officer cursed. If hostiles reach that junction first, they can delay everyone. Kai nodded. They don't need to win. He highlighted the route again. They only need to slow us down. The room fell silent. That was the problem with logistics. People always imagined victory as destroying the enemy. Often, victory simply meant making someone arrive late. The administrator's voice returned. What do you recommend? Kai zoomed out. The hidden station routes expanded across the display. Thousands of possibilities. Most irrelevant. A few valuable. One interesting. His finger stopped on a route almost nobody had considered. It looked inefficient. Longer. Indirect. Dot. Messy. Dot. The kind of route commanders hated. The kind of route cargo operators loved. The kind of route built to move equipment rather than people. Kai smiled slightly. There. The security officer looked unconvinced. That's longer. By distance. Distance matters. Not always. Kai highlighted the infrastructure nodes. Maintenance, lifts, service rails, automated cargo systems, emergency transport tunnels. The officer blinked. The technician blinked. Then both of them realized it at the same time. The route wasn't designed for walking. It was designed for freight. Commander Hale stared at Kai. For the first time, genuine approval appeared in the commander's eyes. Just briefly. Then, it vanished. Interesting. Very interesting. The silver-haired woman smiled faintly. You think like a transport captain. Kai shrugged. Transport captains usually arrive on time. Juno nodded. That's honestly more impressive than most admirals. The administrator immediately changed the Kandeo. Deployment order. Security teams redirected. New routes assigned. Emergency access granted. Across the station, personnel began moving. The race had started. But now, it would follow Kai's route. The bridge shook again. Harder this time. A deep vibration rolled through horizon. The golden map flickered. Several hidden pathways disappeared. 3 routes collapsed entirely. The countdown continued. 4 minutes. Kai stared. The route network was changing. Not randomly. Dynamically. The trial itself was modifying the terrain. Exactly like a real logistics crisis. Every second mattered. Every decision mattered. Every delay mattered. The cosmic exchange system appeared. Trial environment confirmed. Connection pathways unstable. Route availability decreasing. A new line appeared. Candidate performance affects authority evaluation. Kai froze. Authority evaluation. Not ownership evaluation. Authority. The same authority Horizon kept mentioning. The same authority the system kept refusing to grant. The trial wasn't deciding who owned Horizon. It was deciding who deserved access. A very different thing. Commander Hale apparently reached the same conclusion. The commander's expression darkened. The silver-haired woman reached the same conclusion too. Her eyes sharpened. Nobody spoke. But suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The ship. The registry. The ownership dispute. Those were no longer the main issue. The trial was. And everyone knew it. The bridge speakers crackled again. An emergency transmission arrived from below. The image appeared instantly. A security officer. Bleeding. Out of breath. Running. Behind him, alarms flashed through a dark maintenance corridor. We found them. The bridge went silent. The administrator spoke immediately. How many? The officer looked over his shoulder. Fear flashed across his face. Unknown. What does that mean? The officer swallowed. Then answered. It means they aren't station personnel. The transmission shifted. Just for a second. Just enough. A dark figure appeared in the corridor behind him. Tall. Armored. Silent. Then the feed cut. The bridge became very quiet. The administrator sounded furious. Reconnect the feed. Nothing. Static. Commander Hale folded his arms. The silver-haired woman's expression hardened. The countdown continued. 3 minutes and 22 seconds. The golden route map shifted again. A new marker appeared. Red. Unlike everything else. Not a route. Not a destination. A person. Moving. Fast. Very fast. Straight toward Omega 19. The ancient voice returned. Hostile participant detected. Priority status granted. Evaluation difficulty increased. Nobody liked the sound of that. Especially Kai. Because if the trial itself considered someone important enough to label as a hostile participant, then whoever was beneath the station wasn't simply another scavenger hunting Horizon. They were part of something much bigger. The red marker accelerated. The route map recalculated. Multiple pathways began closing. One by one. Like doors slamming shut. The race was changing again. Then Commander Hale looked at the red marker. And for the first time, since arriving at Vera Station, the commander looked genuinely worried. Impossible. Nobody missed it. Nobody ignored it. Kai turned toward him. You know who that is. The commander remained silent. That silence was answer enough. The red marker crossed another junction. The countdown reached 3 minutes. And somewhere deep beneath the station, the unknown hostile arrived at a sealed door covered in the same ancient golden symbols as Horizon. 3 minutes. The hostile had already reached the door. Everyone else was still running. That was the problem. Not firepower. Not technology. Distance. Distance was often the most dangerous enemy in the galaxy. Kai stared at the route map floating above Horizon's bridge. The red marker stood before the ancient doorway deep beneath Vera Station. Security teams were still several sectors away. Station personnel were farther. Even the fastest response force would arrive too late. The hostile had won the race. At least on paper. Fortunately, routes were rarely decided on paper. The bridge remained silent. Commander Hale's gaze never left the red marker. The silver-haired woman watched him. Juno watched everyone. The administrator sounded increasingly stressed through the communication channel. What happens if he reaches the node first? Nobody answered. That answer worried Kai more than anything else. People feared outcomes they understood. Silence usually meant something worse. The ancient voice echoed through the bridge. 2 minutes and 53 seconds remaining. Hostile participant. Approaching. Objective. Evaluation ongoing. Kai enlarged the underground station map. The route network expanded. Power channels. Maintenance shafts. Emergency corridors. Transit lines. Hidden infrastructure. The deeper he looked, the stranger the station became. Vera Station was no longer a station. Not really. It was a city built on top of ruins. A modern structure balanced on forgotten foundations. The hostile stood at the center of those foundations. Kai followed the route backward. Not toward the destination. Toward the source. That was where most people made mistakes. Everyone chased objectives. Few people examined the routes leading there. The red marker remained stationary. The hostile was doing something. Perhaps opening the door. Perhaps waiting. Perhaps evaluating the situation. It did not matter. What mattered was the environment around him. Kai zoomed further. A cluster of symbols appeared. Maintenance junctions. Power regulators. Emergency bulkheads. Service locks. Old infrastructure. Ancient infrastructure. Then Kai noticed something. A pattern. The route network did not simply connect the station. It controlled it. The realization hit immediately. The node wasn't hidden beneath Vera Station. Vera Station had been built around the node. The bridge grew quiet as Kai continued examining the map. Commander Hale noticed. What did you find? Kai highlighted several pathways. The map changed. The administrator immediately noticed. What is that? The station. We know it's the station. No. Kai pointed toward the route convergence points. The station is the outer layer. The hidden infrastructure brightened. Ancient pathways emerged beneath modern construction. The bridge fell silent. The administrator stopped talking. The technician stared. The security officer stared. Even Juno looked concerned. That alone was impressive. Kai continued. The node isn't connected to the station. He highlighted another layer. The station is connected to the node. Nobody spoke. The distinction changed everything. Commander Hale slowly nodded. The silver-haired woman's eyes narrowed. They understood immediately. The station was not protecting the node. The node was the reason the station existed. A forgotten purpose buried beneath a century of expansion. The cosmic exchange system pulsed. Connection architecture identified. Authority insufficient. Kai ignored it. He was becoming very skilled at ignoring that sentence. The bridge suddenly shook again. Harder. The route map flickered. The red marker moved. The hostile had entered the chamber. Every person on the bridge froze. The countdown continued. 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Then, a transmission appeared. Unexpected. Unrequested. Origin unknown. The image flickered into existence above the bridge. Dark armor. Black cloak. Featureless helmet. The hostile. The entire room became silent. Nobody had expected communication. The figure stood within a vast underground chamber, illuminated by golden light. Ancient pillars rose into darkness. Countless symbols covered the walls. The node stood at the center. A sphere of gold suspended above a circular platform. It looked impossibly old. And impossibly important. The hostile examined it quietly. Then looked directly into the transmission feed. Into the bridge. Into Horizon. Into them. His voice emerged distorted through the helmet. I wondered who awakened the trial. Nobody answered. The figure laughed softly. Not mockingly. Curiously. As expected. Commander Hale stepped forward. The atmosphere changed instantly. The hostile noticed. The hostile smiled. Or at least Kai thought he did. The helmet made certainty impossible. Commander hailed off. The bridge became very quiet. Interesting. Very interesting. They knew each other. Not personally, perhaps, but enough. Commander Hale's expression darkened. You should not be here. I hear that often. The hostile turned toward the node. Unfortunately, history rarely listens. The administrator finally interrupted. Who are you? The hostile ignored him. Instead, he looked toward Kai. Directly toward Kai. Again. Kai felt something uncomfortable settle in his chest. The man knew too much. The hostile tilted his head. A root analyst. Juno muttered. Why does everyone keep saying that like it's dangerous? Nobody answered. The hostile continued watching Kai. Interesting. Kai said nothing. The hostile laughed again. You do not understand what you awakened. Neither do you. The words escaped before Kai could stop them. The bridge went silent. The hostile stared, then nodded slowly. Fair. Unexpectedly fair. Unexpectedly honest. Commander Hale interrupted. What do you want? The hostile looked toward the golden sphere. Then toward Horizon. Then toward Kai. Finally he answered. The same thing everyone wants. The room waited. The hostile pointed toward the node. Access. The word echoed through the chamber. Simple. Terrifying. Meaningless without context. And somehow, all three at once. The countdown continued. 1 minute and 48 seconds. The node brightened. The ancient chamber trembled. The hostile looked upward. For the first time, uncertainty appeared in his posture. Not fear. Concern. A subtle difference. Kai noticed. The silver-haired woman noticed. Commander Hale noticed. The hostile noticed them noticing. Then the node activated. The golden sphere erupted with light. Ancient symbols ignited across the underground chamber. Across Vera Station. Dot. Across Horizon. Across everything. The route map exploded outward. Not visually. Conceptually. New pathways appeared. Thousands of them. Millions. Routes connecting worlds. Routes connecting sectors. Routes connecting regions beyond modern charts. Broken routes. Dead routes. Forgotten routes. The galaxy unfolded. For one impossible second, Kai glimpsed the true scale of the network. Then, it vanished. The bridge fell dark. Every display failed. Every system froze. Silence consumed the station. The countdown stopped. The hostile disappeared from the transmission. The node vanished from the map. Daitu. The bridge lights died. Darkness swallowed Horizon. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then a single golden message appeared before Kai alone. Not on the bridge. Not on a display. Inside the system. Connection trial. Phase 1 complete. Candidate ranking generated. Kai stared. The next line appeared. Candidate 1. Unknown. Candidate 2. Unknown. Candidate 3. Kai Didoi. The bridge lights flickered weakly. Juno looked around. What just happened? Nobody answered. Because another line had appeared. A line only Kai could see. Reward available. Claim at connection node. Then, the system displayed coordinates. Not somewhere in the galaxy. Not somewhere beneath the station. Somewhere inside Horizon itself. And at that exact moment, deep within the ancient ship, a hidden compartment, unlocked for the first time in centuries. The reward was not waiting in a treasure chest. It was waiting behind a locked wall inside a ship that did not legally belong to anyone. That was the problem Kai faced. Horizon had gone dark after the first phase of the trial, but not completely. Deep within the old vessel, one hidden compartment remained awake, glowing faintly on the ancient route map, like a single star refusing to disappear. The cosmic exchange system marked it with quiet precision. Reward available. Claim at connection node. Location: internal compartment, C-17. Access condition: candidate presence required. Kai stared at the message while the bridge around him recovered from silence. The ancient holographic map had dimmed, but golden route lines still hovered in the air, like avatar images burned into reality. The security officer kept his weapon raised. The technician looked like he wanted to resign from the entire galaxy. Administrator Rowan continued arguing over the station channel with 3 different departments at once. Juno stood beside the captain's seat, staring at the dark bridge panels. Okay. Let me check if I understood this correctly. Kai glanced at her. That is usually dangerous. We came here because you wanted to buy a broken ship. Yes. You lost the auction. Yes. You filed some strange root law claim. Yes. The ship woke up, unfortunately. Then an ancient station node woke up. Also, unfortunately, a mysterious armored person got there first. Yes. And now, the ship is giving you a reward. Kai paused. When you say it like that, it sounds irresponsible. Juno pointed at him. It is irresponsible. I just wanted you to hear it out loud. Commander Hale remained near the golden map, silent and unreadable. Lyra stood several steps away, her golden eyes fixed on Kai, with the expression of someone trying to decide whether he was a useful ally, a dangerous variable, or both. Kai knew that look. He had seen commanders look at unstable routes the same way. Potential value. Potential disaster. Usually both. Administrator Rowan's voice cut through the bridge speakers. No one moves from that bridge until I authorize it. Kai looked toward the highlighted compartment on the map. Did she was then send now? To a door? How worlds unite? Administrator. No. I have not asked yet. I know what you are going to ask. Then you know it matters. Rowan's tired face appeared on the bridge display. He looked older than he had 10 minutes ago. Young man, in the last hour, this ship rewrote its own registry, activated an unknown trial, connected to a hidden node beneath my station, attracted armed ships, and possibly turned my entire salvage yard into part of an ancient evaluation protocol. Kai waited. Rowan leaned closer to the screen. So when you say something matters, I become deeply concerned. Juno nodded. That is fair. Kai ignored her. The compartment that unlocked may contain the reason Horizon responded to the note. Rowan's expression became worse. That is exactly why I do not want anyone opening it. Gee. Go. Commander Hale finally spoke. If Horizon offered a reward, refusing to claim it may end the evaluation. The room turned toward him. Rowan narrowed his eyes. You know that? No. Then why say it? Because ancient systems rarely offer without expectation. Lyra added quietly, and because the hostile participant may have received something as well. That changed the room. Kai had already considered it. Hearing Lyra say it aloud made the problem sharper. The unknown hostile had reached Omega 19 first. Horizon had called him a participant. The trial had generated rankings. Candidate 1. What? Candidate 2. Kai was only Candidate 3. If rewards existed for trial results, then Kai might not be the only one receiving one. And if Candidate 1 was the armored figure beneath the station, every second mattered. Rowan stared at them all as if deciding which nightmare was most legally valid. Finally, he spoke through clenched teeth. Inspection team only. Security escort required. No one touches anything without documentation. Juno raised a hand. Do emotional support pilots count as inspection team? No, do. Then I am here as auxiliary navigation equipment. Rowan closed his eyes. Kai did not smile. Not visibly. Lyra stepped forward. I am coming. Rowan opened his eyes. No. Her expression remained calm. I am a registered claimant. You are also the person whose guards chased my claimant through maintenance tunnels. They were enthusiastic. Juno looked at her. That is one word for attempted kidnapping. Lyra's gaze shifted to her. Your shuttle is parked with 3 unpaid docking warnings. Juno paused. That is unrelated. Not to me. Kai stepped between the conversation before it became expensive. Lyra should come. Everyone looked at him. Juno's expression betrayed immediate betrayal. Kai continued before she could speak. She recognized the map. Hale recognized the node. I need both of them nearby. Rowan frowned. You trust them? No. Then why? Because people who hide information are more useful when standing where I can see them. For a moment, no one responded. Then Hale gave the smallest possible nod. Lyra smiled faintly. Juno sighed. I hate when that makes sense. Rowan looked like he wanted to retire. Fine, die. But if anyone starts another ancient protocol, I am charging all of you an administrative disaster fee. The route to compartment C-17 did not follow any normal ship layout. That became obvious within minutes. Horizon had looked like a damaged cargo vessel from the outside, but its interior told a different story. The cargo corridors were wide enough for freight pallets, but the walls contained reinforced data conduits. The emergency lights were dim, yet the golden route map pulsed faintly beneath the deck like veins under skin. Kai walked at the front, following the line only he and the ship's internal display seemed to recognize clearly. Behind him came the security officer, then Juno, then the technician, then Lyra, then Hale. Nobody liked the order, which probably meant it was balanced. The corridor sloped downward. That should have been impossible. Ships did not have downward in the normal sense, only decks and gravity orientation. But Horizon's internal gravity seemed to shift subtly as they moved, making the path feel like a descent. Juno noticed first. Are we going down? Yes, Kai said. We are in a ship. Yes. Ships should not feel like basements. The technician checked his scanner. Gravity alignment is changing by corridor section. Juno looked offended. That is? Worse. Hale studied the walls. Route vessels were sometimes built around layered navigation cores. Kai glanced at him. Sometimes? Hale stopped speaking. Lyra looked at him. You almost gave an answer. Hale remained silent. Juno whispered. He hates finishing sentences. The path ended at a circular door buried behind what should have been a cargo bulkhead. The wall around it was covered in layers of later repair plating, as if multiple owners had unknowingly patched over the entrance without realizing it was there. Kai reached toward the panel. The security officer immediately said, Wait. Kai stopped. The officer scanned the door. No explosive residue. No heat signature. No mechanical traps detected. Lyra spoke calmly. Modern scanners would not detect ancient security. The officer looked at her. That was not comforting. It was not meant to be. Kai examined the door. No handle. No visible lock. Only a circular indentation at the center. A golden symbol appeared there. The same symbol that had flashed on Horizon's hull. The cosmic exchange system pulsed. Candidate verification required. Kai raised his hand. Juno immediately grabbed his sleeve. Before you touch the ancient door, quick question. What? Are we sure the reward is not death? No, great. Love the honesty. Kai placed his palm against the symbol. Gold light spread outward. The door opened without sound. The compartment beyond was not large. That surprised him. Some part of him had expected a grand chamber filled with impossible technology. Instead, the room was small, circular, and dark. At its center floated a broken device, no larger than a fist. It resembled a compass made of white metal and golden glass. Thin rings rotated slowly around a cracked central core. Even damaged, it gave off a quiet dignity, like a relic that had survived too many forgotten journeys. The system identified it. Object detected. Fragmented root key. Authority level. Low. Function. Partial root memory access. Kai's eye sharpened. A root key. Not a weapon. Not money. Not a ship upgrade. Information. Of course. The first real reward from an ancient route vessel was a key to forgotten routes. Kai felt something settle in his chest. This made sense. More sense than a miracle treasure. Horizon was not testing whether he could fight. It was testing whether he understood connections. Lyra stepped closer. Her calm expression finally cracked. Only slightly. But enough. You know what it is, Kai said. She looked at the floating device. I know what people call things like this. What? Fragments. Hale's voice cut in from behind them. Do not touch it carelessly. Kai turned. Then explain. Hale stared at the device. For a moment. The old commander looked less like a military officer, and more like a man standing before a grave. Route memory devices were used to preserve paths that could not be stored in ordinary navigation systems. Kai absorbed that. Why could they not be? Stored? Hale did not answer. Lyra did. Because some routes were not only coordinates. The room became quiet. That sentence landed differently. Kai looked at the device again. Routes that were not only coordinates. The phrase should have sounded impossible. But after golden maps, hidden nodes, and a ship that woke up during a legal hearing, impossible had become less persuasive. Kai reached toward the route key. This time, nobody stopped him. His fingers touched the outer ring. The device unfolded. Golden light filled the compartment. For 1 second, Kai was no longer standing inside Horizon. He was standing in space. Not physically. Not exactly. A vision expanded around him. Stars moved like beads along invisible threads. Gateways burned like suns. Massive routes stretched across regions of the galaxy he did not recognize. Ships traveled through golden corridors. Stations pulsed with life. Worlds exchanged water, fuel, medicine, engines, food, people, languages, and promises. Civilization moved. Not through conquest. Through connection. Then the vision cracked. Routes dimmed. Gateways failed. Stations went dark. Worlds vanished from the network, one by one. Kai felt the loss like hearing thousands of doors close across the stars. The vision ended. He stumbled once. Juno caught his arm. Kai darted. He breathed slowly. The route key hovered before him, now dimmer than before. The system appeared. Fragmented route key acquired. Partial route memory unlocked. Authority increased. Kai's pulse changed. Authority increased. For the first time, those words appeared. Not insufficient. Increased. A new system line unfolded. Connection authority. Level 1. Available function. Route memory glimpse. Cooldown. Limited by recovered fragments. Kai stared at it. This was not power in the usual sense. It did not make him stronger. It did not give him ships. It did not pay his debts. But it gave him something no other route analyst in the galaxy possessed. Memories of routes that had died. Juno watched his face. Is it good? Kai looked at the route key. Then, at the ship around him. Then, at the faint golden line pulsing beneath the floor. Yes. How good? He answered honestly. Dangerously good. The compartment lights flickered. Hale stepped forward. We need to leave. Kai looked at him. Why? Hale's gaze moved toward the ceiling. Because if you received authority, the other candidates may have received theirs. A station-wide alarm confirmed his words. Emergency broadcast. Data. Omega-19 breach. Expanding. Unknown hostile has accessed secondary node pathway. All deep-layer security teams retreat immediately. Juno's face changed. Secondary pathway. Lyra turned toward Kai Dimthini. Hale's expression darkened. Then Horizon's voice returned. Second phase condition detected. Candidate pathways diverging. At the same moment, the golden line beneath Kai's feet split into two routes. One led back to the bridge. The other led deeper into Horizon. Toward a sealed section that had not appeared on any map. A new message appeared before Kai. Optional objective detected. Recover the second fragment before hostile participant completes synchronization. Time remaining: 18 minutes. Juno stared at the dark corridor ahead. No. Kai looked at her. No? No to whatever ancient hallway just opened. Lyra drew her weapon. Hale's face turned grim. The security officer checked his rifle. Kai looked down at the root key in his hand. Then, toward the newly opened path. The reward had not ended the trial. It had only revealed the next route. And somewhere beneath Vera Station, the hostile participant was moving again. 18 minutes. Somewhere beneath Vera Station, the unknown hostile was moving toward a second fragment. Inside Horizon, another route had just opened. Kai immediately understood the trap. Not because of the system. Because he had spent years watching commanders make the same mistake. Whenever two urgent objectives appeared at the same time, people instinctively chased both. That was how logistics collapsed. The golden pathway stretched into the darkness beyond the newly opened bulkhead. The corridor was unlike the rest of Horizon. The metal carried almost no corrosion. The walls were smooth instead of industrial. Thin golden lines flowed beneath white alloy panels like streams beneath frozen ice. It looked less like a cargo ship, more like an ancient research facility. Juno leaned forward just enough to peek into the corridor. I officially dislike this hallway. The security officer raised his rifle. I officially agree. Administrator Rowan's voice immediately came through the comm channel. I just received that. Statement on the station recording. Juno blinked. You heard that? I hear everything. That sounds unhealthy. It comes with the job. Kai ignored the exchange. He was studying the route. The system had highlighted only one path. No alternatives. That bothered him. Ancient routes always offered redundancy. Cargo routes especially. No civilization survived thousands of years by relying on a single corridor. Something was missing. He activated the route memory fragment. The small device floated above his palm. Golden rings rotated slowly. The world around him blurred. Not completely. Just enough. Thin streams of light appeared across the corridor. Invisible pathways. Maintenance ducts. Emergency access shafts. Old cargo rails hidden behind sealed walls. Kai smiled faintly. There it was. The visible corridor wasn't the route. It was merely the obvious route. The real logistics network was hidden underneath. Lyra noticed his expression. You found something. Kai nodded. The ship is lying. The technician looked confused. It can do that? The corridor is real. Kai pointed toward the glowing hidden lines only he could fully perceive. It just isn't. The efficient route. Commander Hale watched him carefully. You can already use the fragment. I can glimpse it. Hale remained silent. That silence confirmed another suspicion. The route fragment was supposed to be difficult to use. Apparently Kai's instincts as a route analyst aligned unusually well with its function. Not because he possessed special talent. Because he had spent years thinking exactly the way the architects expected. In routes, not destinations. The cosmic exchange system appeared. Route memory active. Energy consumption minimal. Suggested efficiency improvement detected. 3 faint markers appeared along the corridor wall. Kai walked toward the nearest one. The technician frowned. There's nothing there. Kai placed his hand against the smooth alloy. The wall folded inward. Everyone froze. A narrow maintenance passage opened beside them. Dust drifted into the air. No alarms. No explosions. Just quiet, mechanical precision. Juno looked from the hidden passage to the obvious corridor. That is incredibly unfair. Kai stepped inside. The hidden route was barely wide enough for one person. Old transport rails ran beneath the floor. Tiny service drones rested silently in docking alcoves. Everything here had been designed for efficiency rather than appearance. Commander Hale followed. He ran a hand across the wall. I have not seen this architecture in decades. Lyra looked toward him. Decades. Hale withdrew his hand. I misspoke. No. She shook her head. You revealed something. Kai stored the conversation away. Commander Hale continued revealing information in fragments. Like damaged navigation data. Never complete. Always useful. The group continued through the narrow passage. Progress became much faster. The hidden transport corridor bypassed several long bends in the main hallway. Exactly as Kai expected. Real logistics avoided unnecessary distance. The security officer checked the station map. We just skipped nearly 300 meters. Kai nodded. The cargo route. The officer looked impressed. I would never have found this. Because you were looking for doors. Kai pointed toward the transport rails. I was looking for freight. The officer laughed quietly. I suppose that's why you're the analyst. Juno whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. I still think he's strange. Kai replied without turning around. I've accepted that. The passage eventually widened into a circular junction. 3 corridors branched outward. Unlike before, none of them appeared on Horizon's original internal layout. The system remained silent. No highlighted path. No recommendation. Kai stopped walking. Everyone waited. Juno folded her arms. Please tell me the magical glowing lines are coming back. They aren't. Oh. The security officer stepped toward the left corridor. It looks clear. Kai shook his head. Too obvious. The technician examined the center. Corridor Dorte. It has the least structural damage. Kai looked at it. Which means it was maintained. Isn't that good? Not necessarily. Lyra immediately understood. If someone expected movement here, they would preserve the main approach. Kai nodded. Commander Hale looked quietly pleased. The silver-haired woman continued. Which leaves? She looked toward the right corridor. Unlike the others, it was partially collapsed. Broken support beams blocked most of the entrance. Dust covered everything. Abandoned. Forgotten. Juno stared. You want the one that's falling apart. Kai walked toward it. I want the one nobody bothered to clean. The security officer frowned. That's your reason? No. Kai crouched beside the debris. The broken support beam had fallen naturally. The dust had not. Several small patches looked disturbed. Someone had moved through here recently. Not many. 1 person. Maybe 2. Trying not to leave tracks. Kai pointed silently. The officer's eyes widened. I completely missed that. Most people would. Lyra looked toward the center corridor. They wanted everyone to choose that route. Kai nodded. The collapse isn't the obstacle. It's camouflage. Commander Hale finally spoke. The hostile. Kai looked at him. You think so? I think someone with similar training. That answer was interesting. Very interesting. Kai filed it away. The group cleared enough debris to squeeze through. The passage beyond was narrow but intact. Ancient emergency lighting flickered to life as Horizon sensed their approach. The walls gradually changed. Industrial gray disappeared. White alloy returned. Golden lines became brighter. The atmosphere became quieter. Almost peaceful. Until the floor vibrated. Everyone stopped. The vibration came again. Soft. Rhythmic. Dot-high. Like distant machinery. Or footsteps. Heavy footsteps. The security officer raised his rifle. The technician checked his scanner. No life signs. Juno frowned. I don't trust scanners anymore. Neither did Kai. The root fragment pulsed. Without warning, a faint memory appeared before him. Not a vision. A trace. Dozens of identical service constructs moving through this same corridor centuries ago at Danar. Transporting cargo. Repairing walls. Maintaining connections. The image vanished. Kai looked ahead. This corridor wasn't built for people. What was it built for? Juno asked. he answered quietly. Machine Zia. As if responding to his words, something deep within the darkness awakened. One pair of golden lights appeared. Then another. Then another. Rows of ancient mechanical eyes slowly illuminated inside the corridor ahead. Not attacking, not moving, simply watching. The technician whispered, "Those aren't maintenance drones." Commander Hale's expression became serious. "No, by da." The old commander slowly stepped forward. "They're gatekeepers." Nobody spoke, because the machines had already begun turning their heads toward Kai. Not toward the armed security officer. Not toward Lyra. Not toward Hale. Toward Kai alone. Then one of the ancient constructs took its first step. Its voice echoed through the silent corridor. "Candidate 3. The machine paused. Authority level 1 confirmed. Every weapon on the team came up instantly. The construct ignored them completely. Its glowing eyes remained fixed, only on Kai. Then it asked a question that froze everyone in place. Will you preserve or overwrite the connection? Will you preserve or overwrite the connection? The ancient construct's voice echoed through the corridor like a question that had waited centuries for an answer. Nobody spoke. Not because they lacked words. Because nobody understood the question. The security officer reacted first. His rifle came up. "Identify yourself." The machine did not respond. Its golden eyes remained fixed on Kai alone. The other constructs behind it stayed perfectly still, lined along the corridor like silent statues carved from white alloy and gold. June leaned closer to Kai. "I don't suppose your new route fragment came with an instruction manual." "No. Thought I'd ask." Administrator Rowan's frantic voice burst through the communication channel. "Kai. Report immediately." Static answered him. Then silence. The technician checked his communicator twice. No signal. Commander Hale looked around the corridor. "We're isolated." "Yamid?" Juno asked. Hale slowly shook his head. "No, Dune." He looked at the glowing walls. "Horizon disconnected us." Kai noticed something else. The corridor behind them no longer looked the same. The entrance they had used remained there, but the subtle golden lines beneath the floor had shifted. Roots, dough. The ship was rearranging them. Not physically, logically. Exactly like a logistics hub, redirecting freight after congestion. Kai quietly memorized the new pattern. He had learned something important. Horizon itself optimized movement. The construct spoke again. "Candidate 3. Its voice carried neither hostility nor kindness. Only purpose. Answer required." Kai stepped forward. The security officer immediately blocked him. "You don't know what it will do." Kai nodded. "I know." "Then why move closer?" "Because it asked a question." The officer looked confused. "So? It hasn't attacked." Commander Hale quietly added, "Architect systems rarely ask unnecessary questions." Juno sighed. "I miss ordinary pirates." Kai stopped several meters from the construct. "What do you mean by preserve?" The machine answered instantly. "Maintain existing connections. And overwrite? Replace existing network." Kai frowned. The answer felt incomplete. Intentionally incomplete. Like speaking to a navigation computer that refused to explain anything beyond the immediate objective. Kai looked past the construct. Rows of identical machines stood motionless. Maintenance units. Batiuain. Gatekeepers. Dike. Connection guardians. None had drawn weapons. None had advanced. They were waiting. Just like the system. The realization slowly settled. This wasn't a combat trial. It was a judgment. The cosmic exchange system appeared. Dialogue recognized. Authority level 1 permits limited inquiry. Kai immediately asked another question. "What is the connection?" The construct remained silent for several seconds. Long enough that Juno whispered, "I think you broke it." Then it answered. "Civilization." The corridor became completely silent. One word. Nothing more. Kai repeated it quietly. Civilization. The construct inclined its head. Confirmed. Kai understood only part of the answer. Enough to ask another. What happens if the connection disappears? The construct answered without hesitation. Isolation. Dutsertun. Join Dao. Pendiwilmal. Pensie. I. Doi. The root fragment pulsed in Kai's hand. Tiny flashes of memory appeared. Dead colonies. Silent stations. Cargo ships drifting without fuel. Hospitals waiting for medicine that never arrived. Mining worlds overflowing with ore while factories starved for raw materials. No battles. No explosions. Just distance. Distance becoming death. The memories vanished. Kai slowly exhaled. He understood now. Connection wasn't simply gateways, or routes, or trade. It was dependence. Every civilization survived because something else reached it. Food, medicine, technology, knowledge, people. The machine continued. Overwrite creates efficiency. Preserve creates resilience. Juno blinked. I have absolutely no idea what that means. Kai did. Not completely. But enough. He looked toward the hidden transport corridor they had used. The obvious route. The hidden route. The redundant route. Redundancy. That was the difference. A perfectly efficient network removed unnecessary paths. A resilient network kept backups, even if they looked wasteful. Kai smiled faintly. The architects thought like logistics engineers, not conquerors. He finally answered. I choose preservation. Nothing happened. Then every construct in the corridor lowered its head simultaneously. Golden light flowed through the floor beneath Kai's feet. The root fragment rotated once. Authority updated. Connection philosophy verified. Preservation candidate confirmed. Juno looked around. Was that good? Nobody answered immediately. Commander Hale finally spoke. Very. Lyra turned toward him. You know what that means. I know what it once meant. Tell us. Hale remained silent. Juno folded her arms. I liked him better when he wasn't mysterious. The nearest construct stepped aside. The corridor beyond opened. A path that had not existed seconds earlier slowly unfolded ahead. Kai noticed something important. The machine had not opened a door. It had changed the route. The walls themselves shifted. Entire sections of horizon quietly rotated. Cargo passages became maintenance halls. Storage rooms became transit tunnels. The ship wasn't static. It was modular. Like a living logistics network. The technicians stared in amazement. The entire internal layout reconfigured. Kai nodded. It changes depending on authority. The route fragment pulsed again. Another brief memory surfaced. This time, he saw horizons centuries earlier. Not damaged. Not abandoned. Alive. Deshon. Isen mighter ward your sound. Zu. Thousands of crew members moved through its corridors. Cargo drones glided silently overhead. Navigation officers coordinated dozens of fleets through glowing route displays. The vessel wasn't carrying weapons. It was carrying civilizations. The vision ended. Kai frowned. Juno immediately noticed. What did you see? A memory. Good memory? He nodded slowly. I think Horizon wasn't built to fight wars. Commander Hale looked at him carefully. No. It was built to prevent them. Hale did not confirm it. He did not deny it. That was confirmation enough. The group continued through the newly opened corridor. Unlike before, the atmosphere felt different. Not threatening. Welcoming. Small maintenance drones quietly emerged from hidden wall compartments. Instead of attacking, they repaired cracked floor panels as the group walked. One drone stopped before Kai. It extended a tiny manipulator arm. The route fragment floated upward. The drone scanned it. then gently polished one damaged ring before returning it. Juno stared. The robot just cleaned your artifact. Kai looked equally surprised. I think it approved. The tiny drone emitted a soft, mechanical tone, then disappeared into the wall. Even Lyra smiled. Briefly, the moment passed quickly. A warning tone echoed through the corridor. Not from Horizon. From the route fragment. The golden rings accelerated. A holographic map unfolded above Kai's hand. Unlike before, it showed two moving markers. One blue, one red. Kai.tai. The unknown hostile. Both routes converged toward a single point deeper inside the ship. The system displayed new information. Synchronization, progress. Candidate 1, 41%. Candidate 3, 18%. Juno looked over Kai's shoulder. I don't like that number. Neither did Kai. More importantly, he noticed something else. The hostile wasn't moving continuously. The red marker stopped several times, changed direction, then continued, almost as if he was also following hidden logistics routes. Kai's eyes narrowed. The route fragment. Everyone looked at him. The hostile has one too. Commander Hale answered quietly. Most likely. Kai looked back at the map. That changed everything. This wasn't a race between someone who knew the ship and someone who didn't. It was a contest between two candidates solving the same logistical puzzle, which meant the winner wouldn't be decided by speed. It would be decided by route selection. Kai enlarged the holographic map. His analytical instincts took over. The hostile had chosen the shortest visible route. Fast. Direct. Efficient. Kai looked at Horizon's hidden pathways, then smiled. The obvious path again. Juno recognized that smile. Oh, no. Kai pointed toward a nearly invisible maintenance branch hidden beneath the main route. If Horizon still thinks like a logistics vessel. He traced the branching network. The shortest route isn't the fastest. Commander Hale's eyes sharpened. Lyra immediately understood. Supply priority lanes. Kai nodded. Exactly. Ancient cargo infrastructure always reserved hidden transit channels for critical deliveries. Medical supplies. Emergency repairs. Command materials. Not ordinary traffic. If those priority corridors still functioned, they could overtake the hostile without ever meeting him. The route fragment glowed brighter, as if approving the deduction. Then Horizon itself spoke. Priority logistics pathway recognized. Candidate 3. Alternative route unlocked. The wall beside Kai quietly opened. A narrow lift descended into darkness. Juno looked down, then looked back at Kai. I have officially stopped questioning your career choice. The lift lights activated. Soft golden light disappeared into the depths below. Kai took one step toward it, then stopped, because another system message appeared. Warning. Priority logistics pathway reserved for authorized cargo only. Improper decision may permanently alter trial outcome. Kai stared at the words. The lift waited. The route waited. Somewhere below, the hostile continued moving. And for the first time since Horizon awakened, Kai realized the fastest route might not be the correct one. The fastest route was wrong. Kai knew it before he took another step. The warning floating above the golden lift was unlike every system message he had received so far. It did not forbid him. It questioned his judgment. Priority logistics pathway reserved for authorized cargo only. Improper decision may permanently alter trial outcome. Juno looked from the glowing message to Kai. You've got that look again. What look? The one where your brain starts arguing with itself. Kai continued studying the lift. The obvious choice was to use it. The hostile was already ahead. The hidden logistics lane would almost certainly allow them to catch up. Every instinct pushed toward speed, which was exactly why Kai hesitated. Commander Hale noticed. You aren't moving. No, why? Kai pointed at the warning. Horizon isn't testing whether I can find shortcuts. Then what? It wants to know whether I deserve to use them. The corridor became quiet. Lyra slowly nodded. The warning isn't about authorization. Kai looked at her. It is about responsibility. For the first time since entering Horizon, Lyra answered without reservation. I think you're right. Juno sighed dramatically. I hate when both of you start sounding ancient. The route fragment pulsed once in Kai's hand. Another brief memory surfaced. An enormous logistics vessel floated above a thriving colony. Medical containers loaded into priority transit lanes. Civilian cargo waited patiently. Military officers requested immediate transport. The route supervisor denied them. Emergency medicine departed first. The vision disappeared. Kai smiled faintly. Now, he understood. Priority lanes were not rewards. They were responsibilities. The architect who designed Horizon expected whoever held authority to know when not to use authority. Kai stepped away from the lift. Everyone looked at him. We're taking the normal route. The security officer blinked. The hostile gains distance. Probably. Juno stared at him. You just solved the puzzle. And now you're ignoring it. I'm respecting it. The cosmic exchange system responded instantly. Candidate decision acknowledged. Priority logistics access retained. Authority stability increased. No bright light appeared. No dramatic sound echoed. Only one quiet line. Authority stability increased. Commander Hale slowly smiled. It was almost invisible. But Kai noticed. So that was the answer. Hale nodded once. You preserve the purpose of the route. Juno folded her arms. I still don't understand. Kai began walking down the ordinary corridor. The emergency lane exists because someone else may need it more. But nobody's here. Not today. He looked at the glowing walls. But whoever built this ship wanted its operators to think beyond themselves. Lyra quietly added, That's what civilizations require. The group continued along the standard passage. Without the hidden transit route, progress became noticeably slower. The hostile marker widened its lead. 46%. Then, 48. Juno checked Kai's route fragment. I really don't like watching that number. Kai wasn't watching the hostile. He was watching Horizon. Every corridor they passed contained subtle differences. Storage rooms positioned near intersections. Maintenance stations spaced at regular intervals. Emergency supply lockers placed beside major junctions. Nothing had been built randomly. Every decision reflected centuries of optimization. This ship was a lesson disguised as architecture. The technician suddenly stopped. Movement. Die. Everyone froze. Several small drones emerged from wall compartments. Unlike the earlier maintenance units, these were damaged. Scorch marks covered their white alloy shells. One arm was missing from the first. Another dragged a damaged sensor array. They slowly approached the group. Weapons immediately came up. The drones stopped. None displayed hostile intent. One projected a tiny hologram. A maintenance request. System damage. Route obstruction. Repair assistance requested. Juno blinked. They're asking for help. The security officer lowered his rifle slightly. I've never seen machines request assistance from visitors. Kai crouched beside the nearest drone. Its chassis was badly damaged. One stabilizer motor had almost completely failed. The technician looked at it. I can fix that. Kai nodded. Do it. The technician hesitated. The hostile is getting farther away. I know. But, Kai interrupted gently. If these drones maintain Horizon's routes, he looked toward the endless corridor. They're part of the connection. The technician understood. He unpacked a compact repair kit. Within minutes, damaged wiring had been replaced. A stabilizer bearing was recalibrated. The tiny machine slowly stood upright again. Golden lights brightened across its chassis. Then, something unexpected happened. Every maintenance drone bowed toward Kai. Not the technician. Kai Tordiri, Benchiri, Tadmine, Idana Warren, Daishore. The cosmic exchange system appeared. Connection preserved. Infrastructure assistance recognized. Authority reputation increased. Hidden trust variable updated. Kai read the message twice. Trust. Not experience. Not authority. Trust. But the word lingered in his mind. The drones dispersed. As they disappeared into hidden wall passages, something changed. Entire sections of corridor lighting brightened. Doors, previously sealed quietly, unlocked. Small navigation symbols illuminated across the floor. Juno looked around. I think the ship likes you. Kai shook his head. No. What? It likes cooperation. Commander Hale quietly nodded. The architects rewarded sustainable decisions. The route fragment updated again. Synchronization. Progress. Candidate 1, 53%. Candidate 3, 31%. Juno groaned. We're still losing. Kai smiled. Maybe. You don't sound worried. Because I don't think we're measuring the same thing. Lyra looked toward him. You believe synchronization isn't a race? Kai nodded. The hostile keeps moving. Hey. Pointed toward the red marker. We keep unlocking. Nobody answered. Because that distinction was becoming impossible to ignore. Several minutes later, the ordinary corridor widened into a vast circular chamber. Everyone instinctively stopped. The room was enormous. Hundreds of meters across. Towering white pillars surrounded a central platform, suspended above an endless shaft. Golden energy flowed upward through transparent conduits beneath the floor. Massive rings rotated silently overhead. The chamber resembled neither a cargo bay nor a command center. It resembled a gateway. Kai looked upward. Except this gateway wasn't complete. Large portions had collapsed. Entire ring segments were missing. Ancient repair scaffolding floated silently nearby. The technician whispered, "This place." Commander Hale finished the sentence. Gateway construction. Nexus. Lyra slowly turned toward him. You've seen one before. Hale answered quietly. No. I've seen records. Kai walked toward the central platform. The root fragment vibrated. Another memory flashed. Thousands of workers. Engineers. Navigation officers. Entire fleets delivering construction materials. This chamber wasn't abandoned because it failed. It had never been finished. The vision vanished. Kai stopped. His heartbeat quickened. The system appeared. Historical site confirmed. Architect construction. Nexus. Completion status. 34%. Connection restoration unavailable. Kai stared at the number. 34%. Not destroyed. Unfinished. Juno looked around the enormous chamber. So the architects. Kai answered quietly. They were interrupted. No one spoke. Because that possibility changed everything. The civilization that built Horizon might not have vanished naturally. They might have disappeared before completing whatever they had begun. Suddenly, the root fragment emitted a sharp warning tone. The red hostile marker stopped moving. Then vanished completely. Synchronization progress. Candidate 1. Signal lost. Juno frowned. Lost? The technician checked his scanner. No transmission. Lyra looked toward the endless shaft beneath the platform. That's impossible. Commander Hale's expression hardened. No, Tadoidine. His eyes slowly lifted toward the darkness beyond. The unfinished gateway. It means something found him first. Before anyone could respond, a deep metallic sound echoed from somewhere far below. Not machinery. Not an explosion. A door. An possibly massive door. Opening beneath the unfinished gateway. Then, Horizon spoke. Its calm voice carried through the chamber. Unauthorized activation detected. Ancient Guardian Protocol awakening. Every light inside the enormous chamber turned crimson. The rotating gateway rings accelerated. And somewhere deep beneath the platform, something that had remained asleep since the age of the architects opened its eyes. Something beneath the unfinished gateway had opened its eyes. The crimson warning lights washed across the colossal chamber in slow, rhythmic pulses. Ancient gateway rings rotated above like silent planets, scattering streams of golden light through the darkness. No one breathed. No one spoke. Then the footsteps stopped. The sudden silence was somehow worse. Kai's eyes swept across the enormous chamber. The central platform. The unfinished gateway. The maintenance rails suspended high overhead. The countless service corridors hidden inside the surrounding walls. He forced himself to ignore the shaft below. If he had spent years studying convoy ambushes, he had learned one lesson above all others. The most dangerous attack rarely came from the direction everyone was watching. The root fragment trembled gently in his hand. A thin golden line appeared. Not toward the abyss. Toward the ceiling. Kai's eyes widened. Move. Commander Hale reacted instantly. Away from the platform. Now. Nobody hesitated. The entire group sprinted toward the nearest maintenance bridge. 3 seconds later, the central platform erupted upward. Not with fire. With precision. Massive locking mechanisms unfolded like blooming metal petals. Entire sections of white alloy separated without a single wasted movement. A gigantic hand emerged. Its fingers were larger than freight shuttles. White armor reflected crimson warning lights while golden energy flowed through elegant patterns beneath its surface. Another hand followed. Then an enormous torso slowly rose from the chamber below. It was beautiful. And terrifying. Unlike ordinary war machines covered in weapons, this construct carried enormous manipulators, articulated construction arms, precision engineering tools, and massive stabilization anchors. It had not been designed for battle. It had been designed to build civilizations. Commander Hale whispered almost to himself. Atlas class. The Guardian continued rising until its head reached the height of the unfinished gateway. Its face possessed no mouth. No nose. Only 2 calm golden eyes beneath a perfectly smooth white mask. It looked less like a machine, more like an ancient judge. The security officer instinctively aimed his rifle. Commander Hale lowered it with one hand. If you fire. He never finished the sentence. Nobody wanted to discover the ending. The Guardian ignored every weapon pointed toward it. Its eyes settled directly upon Kai. The cosmic exchange system quietly appeared. Atlas class connection. Constructor. Operational integrity. 27%. Primary directive. Preserve the connection. Kai frowned. 27%. Die. The construct was barely functional. His gaze shifted across its immense body. Entire sections had been repaired with unfamiliar black alloy. The repairs were crude. Functional. But ugly. Like someone repairing a masterpiece with scrap metal. Kai stepped closer. The Guardian did not react. Instead, it slowly raised one gigantic arm. Black repair plates embedded throughout its joints suddenly glowed crimson. Tiny explosions erupted one after another. Foreign components were being rejected. Metal fragments rained onto the platform below. The Guardian spoke. Its voice was neither loud nor quiet. It simply existed everywhere. Unauthorized modification detected. Kai's thoughts accelerated. Unauthorized modifications. The unknown hostile. The hostile had reached this chamber first. He hadn't awakened the Guardian. He had tried to interact with it. Or worse, repair it incorrectly. The Guardian continued. Connection integrity compromised. Before anyone else could react, Kai took another step forward. I'm Candidate 3. Golden eyes focused upon him. Authority confirmed. I didn't modify your systems. A pause. Then the Guardian answered. Confirmed. Juno stared. It can tell. Kai nodded slowly. It distinguishes intent. Commander Hale watched Kai carefully. Keep talking. Kai looked up at the enormous construct. I understand maintenance. The Guardian remained silent. I don't understand architect technology. Another pause. But I understand infrastructure. The Guardian's eyes brightened slightly. Kai continued. When a bridge collapses, he gestured toward the unfinished gateway. You don't repair the cracks first. Nobody interrupted him. You stabilize the foundation. The Guardian did not move. You identify what still works. You isolate damaged sections. You restore connections gradually. He looked directly into those golden eyes. You don't force the network to function. You help it recover. Silence filled the chamber. Then the Guardian lowered its massive arm. The Cosmic Exchange System updated. Infrastructure reasoning recognized. Connection philosophy consistent. Kai noticed something. No reward appeared. Only acknowledgement. That felt far more meaningful. Suddenly, another sound echoed through the chamber. Footsteps. Human footsteps. Everyone turned. A figure emerged from a damaged maintenance corridor nearly 300 meters away. Black armor. Featureless helmet. The unknown hostile. Juno whispered. He's back. The hostile ignored everyone. He walked calmly toward another access platform, overlooking the unfinished gateway. No panic. No hesitation. Almost as though he had expected the Guardian to awaken. Kai narrowed his eyes. Something felt wrong. The hostile wasn't carrying any visible weapons. No equipment. No relics. Nothing. Then Kai noticed his boots. Fine gray dust covered them. Construction dust. Not ordinary station debris. His root fragment pulsed. A memory flashed. Ancient workers. Construction sites. Foundation chambers. Kai looked back toward the unfinished gateway. Then toward the hostile. His heartbeat quickened. No. Gut. Commander Hale looked at him. What? He wasn't looking for the Guardian. Everyone turned. Kai pointed toward the unfinished gateway itself. He was surveying the construction site. Lyra's expression changed instantly. She understood before anyone else. The missing sections. Kai nodded. He wasn't solving the trial. He was mapping it. Commander Hale slowly closed his eyes. That explains everything. The hostile finally looked toward Kai. Even from hundreds of meters away, the two men silently studied one another. Kai had spent the entire trial solving Horizon's puzzles. The hostile had spent the entire trial studying Horizon itself. Neither approach was wrong. Just different. The armored figure slowly knelt beside the platform. His gloved hand brushed across ancient symbols carved into the floor. He looked at them for only a second. Then stood again. Lyra suddenly stepped beside Kai. Look. She pointed toward the floor beneath the hostile. Tiny geometric symbols glowed faintly beneath the dust. Kai frowned. You recognize them? Yes. Everyone looked at Lyra. She remained focused on the symbols. My family owned fragments of old architect records. Commander Hale turned sharply toward her. You never mentioned that. You never asked. She continued studying the floor. Those symbols. Her voice became quieter. Aren't construction marks. Kai looked closer. What are they? They're alignment markers. She finally looked toward the unfinished gateway. This chamber wasn't being built. It was being calibrated. The room became completely silent. Neso. Commander Hale's face lost all color. No. Lyra nodded slowly. The gateway wasn't unfinished. She pointed toward the missing ring segments. It was waiting. Kai felt a chill run through him. Waiting. Not incomplete. Dormant. Dot. Waiting for something. Or someone. The unknown hostile looked toward Lyra. For the first time since his appearance, he reacted. A slight tilt of the head. Recognition. Not of Kayeroi. Of Lyra. She saw it too, for only a heartbeat. Then, the hostile calmly reached into his coat. The security officer immediately raised his weapon. The hostile ignored him. Instead, he placed a small black object onto the platform, no larger than a human hand. Then he turned and walked away. Commander Hale shouted, "Stop him!" The security officer fired. The plasma bolt crossed hundreds of meters. The hostile never looked back. A section of maintenance bridge above him suddenly detached. Not because he shot it. Not because he activated anything. He had already loosened the support bolts earlier. The bridge collapsed exactly where he expected. The plasma bolt struck falling debris instead. The hostile disappeared behind a wall of collapsing alloy. Kai watched in disbelief. He planned that. Commander Hale nodded grimly. Hours ago. The dust slowly settled. The hostile was gone. No footprints. No signal. Nothing. Only the small black object remained where he had left it. Nobody approached. Even the Guardian remained perfectly still. The root fragment quietly updated. Candidate 1D. Synchronization suspended. Location unknown. Kai looked toward the abandoned object. He had this strange feeling. It wasn't a trap. It was a message. Then the unfinished gateway suddenly released a low, resonant hum. The Atlas Guardian slowly turned its enormous head toward the object. For the first time since awakening, the ancient construct sounded uncertain. Administrator? A pause followed. Then, in a voice that seemed almost impossible for a machine to produce, it quietly said, "Why has the key returned?" The key had returned. Those 4 words froze the entire chamber more completely than any weapon could have. The Atlas Guardian stood beneath the unfinished gateway, its colossal white armor lit by golden light and crimson warning pulses. Its damaged joints still smoked from rejecting the hostile's crude modifications, but its eyes were fixed on the small black object resting on the platform. Not on Kai. Not on Lyra. Not on Commander Hale. On the key. Juno slowly leaned toward Kai. "Please tell me that thing is not what I think it is." Kai did not answer. Because he did not know. The object looked too small to matter. It was no larger than a palm, shaped like a flat black prism with thin golden seams buried beneath its surface. It had no visible buttons. No handles. No markings that belonged to any modern faction. And yet the entire unfinished gateway had reacted to it. The Guardian had reacted to it. Even Horizon's hidden systems seemed to be holding their breath. Commander Hale's face had gone pale. Lyra noticed. So did Kai Datons. The old commander took one slow step forward. "Nobody touches it." The security officer raised his rifle toward the object, as if the prism might suddenly attack. Juno whispered, "I was not planning to." Kai looked at Hale. "You know what it is." Hale's jaw tightened. "I know what it might be. Then say it." Hale did not answer immediately. The chamber hummed around them. Ancient rings rotated above. Golden energy flowed through the incomplete gateway structure like blood through a half-finished heart. Finally, Hale spoke. "A master alignment key." Lyra's expression changed. Not surprise. Recognition. Kai looked at her. "You know it too." Lyra kept her eyes on the black prism. "My family records mentioned alignment keys, but they were supposed to be theoretical." Hale gave a bitter laugh. "Most dangerous things are called theoretical until someone loses them." Kai looked back toward the key. "What does it do?" Nobody answered. That answer was enough to make him cautious. The cosmic exchange system appeared quietly. Unknown artifact detected. Authority level insufficient for identification. Hazard classification. Extreme toll. Kai stared at the final word. Extreme. The system rarely exaggerated. That meant the key was not simply valuable. It was dangerous to the structure of the network itself. The Atlas Guardian spoke again. Administrator authority signal incomplete. Its enormous head tilted slightly. Master alignment key detected. Trial conclusion unstable. Juno's face tightened. Unstable is one of those words I don't like hearing. Inside giant, ancient machines. Kai barely heard her. He was watching the gateway. The black key had not activated it fully. Not yet. But it was forcing the unfinished structure to respond. The golden rings above trembled. Their rotation became uneven. Sections that had remained dormant tried to align with missing components that were no longer there. The result was wrong. Painfully wrong. Like a convoy trying to follow a route after half the navigation beacons had been destroyed. Kai's mind shifted. Not mystery. Not fear. Logistics. The gateway was a system. A system under stress. A system receiving an order it was not ready to obey. If the key forced completion. His eyes moved across the chamber. Unfinished rings. Damaged conduits. Incomplete stabilizers. A half-built connection node. The entire chamber was not a weapon. It was infrastructure. And the key was trying to make unfinished infrastructure behave as if it were complete. Kai's voice turned sharp. Shut down the gateway. Commander Hale looked at him. We don't know how. The key is forcing alignment. If it completes, the structure may try to open a route without support. The technician's face went white. That could tear through the dock ring. Or worse, Lyra said quietly. Kai looked at the rotating rings. The key had been left deliberately. The unknown hostile had not failed to win the trial. He had planted a problem. Oh, a problem that forced everyone else to choose between chasing him and saving the station. Kai almost admired it. Almost. It was the kind of move made by someone who understood systems. Not as deeply as Kai did, perhaps, but enough. The hostile had chosen a route where victory did not require staying present. Commander Hale spoke into the comms. Rowan, evacuate all lower sectors around Omega-19 and Dock Ring 12, now. Administrator Rowan's voice came through the channel. I already started. Everyone paused. Rowan sounded offended. What? I may hate ancient nonsense, but I can read a disaster map. Juno gave a small nod. I really like him again. The gateway rings accelerated. Golden light intensified. A deep pulse rolled through the chamber and into Horizon's hull. Far above, alarms sounded across the salvage yard. Horizon itself responded. Its dormant engines hummed. Not fully online. Not ready. But awake enough to feel the danger. The cosmic exchange system unfolded again. Emergency objective generated. Prevent unstable gateway alignment. Available assets. Horizon, internal routing. Atlas Guardian, partial control. Maintenance drone network. Route fragment. Station evacuation, grid. Kai read the list once. Then again. No weapon. No miracle. Only infrastructure. Exactly the kind of battlefield he understood. He turned toward the Guardian. Can you stop the key? The Guardian answered after a heavy pause. Integrity insufficient. Can you remove it? Direct removal may trigger forced completion. Of course. The hostile had left a trap designed around obvious responses. Touch the key. Trigger completion. Destroy the key. Trigger completion. Ignore the key. Alignment continues. Juno stared at Kai. Please say you have another route. Kai looked up at the rings. Then, down at the energy conduits. Then toward the maintenance drone network. I do. Hale's eyes sharpened. Kai pointed toward the incomplete gateway. We don't stop the key. Then what? We starve it. The technician blinked. Starve it? Kai began highlighting energy paths on the route fragment. The key is an authority object. It is giving the command. But the gateway still needs energy, stabilization, and routing permission to obey. He pointed to 3 glowing conduits. We cut power here, here, and here. The technician looked horrified. Those conduits connect to Horizon's core. Not cut permanently. Reroute des. Lyra understood first. You want to flood the maintenance grid. Kai nodded. If we redirect enough energy into repair systems and evacuation routes, the gateway won't have enough stable power to complete alignment. Juno looked at the immense gateway rings overhead. You're going to stop an ancient gateway by making it pay maintenance fees? Kai gave her a quick glance. Basically. She stared. That's the most Kai plan possible. Commander Hale looked at the projected route. It will damage Horizon. Kai's hand paused. The words landed harder than he expected. Horizon. His ship. Not fully his yet. Not legally stable. Not operational. Still scarred. Still half broken. But alive. And now, his first true act as its captain might be to hurt it. The Guardian spoke. Energy reroute may reduce vessel restoration capacity. Hale's voice grew quieter. You could lose part of what the trial just gave you. Kai looked at the golden routes. At the unfinished gateway. At the evacuation paths across Vera Station. At the people moving through corridors above. Salvage workers, technicians, clerks, guards, pilots. People who had no idea they were inside the path of an ancient disaster. The choice was not difficult. That made it hurt more, not less. Do it. The route fragment pulsed. Horizon did not obey immediately. For one quiet second, the ship seemed to wait. Then golden lights spread across the floor beneath Kai's boots. A low hum rolled through the walls. The maintenance drones awakened all at once. Hundreds of small machines poured from hidden panels, across walls, over rails, through narrow shafts and overhead channels. They moved with terrifying precision, not toward the gateway, but toward the routes Kai had marked. Energy conduits shifted. Emergency shutters opened. Evacuation signs activated across distant station sectors. Cargo rails powered onto blocked equipment away from escape corridors. The battlefield changed. Not by force, by logistics. The gateway rings above slowed slightly. Not enough. The technician shouted, alignment still rising. Kai checked the energy map. Dotty. The key was adapting. It was drawing power from deeper conduits. The hostile had planned for the first reroute. Of course he had. Kai felt a chill of respect. Then he saw the weakness. A network could adapt to one disruption. It struggled against distributed strain. Rowan.T. The administrator answered instantly. Tell me this is good news. Not yet. I need station traffic control. Why? Because Horizon can't drain the gateway alone. Rowan went silent for half a second. Then understood. You want the station load? Yes, that is illegal in at least 12 ways. Will it save your station? Probably. Then pick your favorite illegal method. Rowan muttered something about route analysts ruining his retirement, and opened the station traffic grid. Kai overlaid the salvage yard's power network with Vera Station's emergency systems. The solution appeared. Ugly. Wasteful. Effective. He redirected non-essential dock power into evacuation lifts. Shifted cargo bay reserves into life support buffers. Forced idle freight loaders into active movement cycles. Ordered fuel pumps to pressure balance across 3 empty berths. Every action consumed energy. Every consumption created drag. The gateway tried to pull power. The station began using it first. Not randomly. Strategically. 1,000 small demands became a blockade. The gateway alignment dropped. 80%. 73. 68. Juno's eyes widened. It's working. Then the black key lit up. A pulse of dark gold energy struck the central platform. The entire chamber lurched. The Atlas Guardian staggered for the first time. A section of the upper ring cracked, spilling golden sparks into the air like falling stars. The system flashed. Warning, die, T.O. now. Mal, I.T.U.R. Forced alignment attempt. Kai's plan had slowed the key. It had not stopped it. The hostile's trap had one more layer. The key was no longer requesting power. It was burning itself. A final use command. The kind of protocol used when survival mattered less than activation. Kai stared at the black prism. He had seconds, not minutes. The Guardian raised one massive hand. Direct containment required. Hale shouted, "No!" The Guardian ignored him. Kai understood immediately. The Atlas-class construct intended to absorb the forced alignment through its own damaged body. At 27% integrity, it might not survive. Juno looked between Kai and the Guardian. "You can't let it." Kai didn't answer. His mind moved faster than emotion. The Guardian was not just a machine. It was infrastructure. A builder. A defender. A living archive of the Architect network. Losing it would save the station, perhaps, but destroy an irreplaceable connection. Preserve, not overwrite. Preserve, not sacrifice. Kai stepped toward the Guardian. "What happens if we share the load?" The Guardian looked at him. "Insufficient capacity, individually." The Guardian paused. Kai raised the root fragment. Horizon, the station, the Guardian, the maintenance drones, and the unfinished gateway all share the same foundation network. Stop treating them as separate systems. Hale stared at him. Lyra's golden eyes widened. Kai continued. "Oh?" Kai continued. "Make them one temporary route." The Guardian's eyes brightened. The cosmic exchange system appeared. Emergency connection proposal detected. Risk. Severe. Outcome. Unknown. Kai smiled faintly. "That's better than impossible." The route fragment flared. Golden lines shot across the chamber. Horizon connected to the Guardian. The Guardian connected to the gateway. The gateway connected to the station foundation. The foundation connected to Vera Station's emergency grid. Maintenance drones became thousands of tiny anchors along the network. For one impossible moment, the entire structure became a single system. Not perfect. Not efficient. Resilient. The black key released its final pulse. The energy struck the network. The chamber turned white. Kai felt the impact in his bones. Not pain exactly. Pressure. A galaxy of pressure. For a fraction of a second, he saw what the architects had built. Stations connected to routes. Routes connected to gateways. Gateways connected to worlds. Worlds connected to each other. No single path carried everything. No single node ruled everything. Civilization survived because the burden was shared. Then the light shattered. Kai fell to one knee. Juno caught him before he hit the floor. The chamber went silent. The gateway rings slowed, then stopped. The black key cracked down the center. Its golden seams went dark. The Atlas Guardian remained standing. Damaged. Smoking. But alive. Horizon hummed softly around them. Not victorious. Exhausted. Like a wounded ship taking its first breath after surviving a storm. The cosmic exchange system appeared. Emergency objective complete. Connection preserved. Authority level 2. Confirmed. Temporary captain authorization stabilized. Kai exhaled slowly. Then, another line appeared. Tangible reward released. Horizon internal cargo. Seal C1. Unlocked our touchdown. Juno looked over his shoulder. "Please tell me that says food." Kai almost laughed. It does not. Far behind them, a sealed cargo compartment opened with a deep mechanical sound. Inside rested a single white and gold repair drone, larger than the small maintenance units, folded neatly inside a preservation cradle. Its body was cracked. One eye was dark. but the others slowly glowed gold. The system identified it. Architect, repair drone der. Unit status, dormant.e. Function, emergency vessel restoration. Condition, damaged. Kai stared. A tangible reward. Not a weapon. Not money. Not an instant ship repair. A helper. A beginning. The Guardian lowered its head toward Kai. Captain authorization recognized. The word echoed differently this time. Captain, dot. Lyra looked at him for a long moment. There was no mockery in her expression now. Only quiet resistment. Commander Hale lowered his gaze. Then, it is done. Hours later, Horizon's salvage yard returned to something resembling order. Not peace. Never peace. But order. Administrator Rowan summoned every legal document the station still possessed, and several he probably invented out of desperation. The final hearing was short. No one had the energy to make it long. Rowan stood behind the administrative platform, glasses crooked, hair disheveled, face carved with exhaustion. The vessel known as Horizon is hereby classified as a historical connection preservation vessel under Frontier Reclamation Law, emergency continuum oversight, and confirmed internal captain authorization. He looked directly at Kai. The registered operational claimant is Captain Kai. The room remained quiet. No cheers. No grand applause. Only stunned silence from officers, clerks, salvage workers, continuum personnel, and several representatives who clearly wished they had arrived earlier. Kai signed the transfer. His account balance was nearly gone. His legal status was unstable. His ship was damaged. His enemies had multiplied. And yet, when the document finalized, he felt something settle inside him. Not triumph. Responsibility. After the hearing ended, he returned to Horizon alone. Juno wanted to follow. Lyra almost did. Even Hale watched him from across the dock. But none of them stopped him. The bridge was dark when Kai entered. Dust floated in the faint air circulation. The captain's chair was cracked along one side. Several consoles remained dead. Through the front viewport, the dead moon reflected pale light across the scarred hull. Kai stood there for a long moment. For years he had guided other people's ships, approved other people's routes, saved other people's convoys, watched other people's fleets move across maps he was never allowed to command. Now, before him, sat a broken vessel that no one had wanted. A ship too old for modern records. Too damaged for sensible buyers. Too strange for ordinary owners. Kai placed one hand on the captain's chair. Nothing happened. He almost smiled. Fair. Cat. He sat down. The chair creaked. The bridge remained dark. Then, one console lit up. Soft gold. Then, another. Then, another. Across the bridge, old systems awakened one by one. Not as a machine obeying an owner. As a ship recognizing its captain. Outside, Horizon's damaged engines gave a low, uneven hum. Weak. Unstable. Alive. Survive. Kai looked ahead at the stars beyond the viewport. The cosmic exchange system appeared silently. New main objective. Reconnect the forgotten routes. Build a fleet worthy of Horizon. Restore the connection. Below it, a smaller message unfolded. Route archive fragment recovered. First forgotten route available. Destination, unknown colony. Status, isolated. Urgency, high. Time window, 72 hours. Kai stared at the words. The galaxy had not waited for him to be ready. Somewhere beyond the frontier, a colony no modern map remembered was still alive. And it was running out of time. Far outside known space, the unknown hostile stood aboard a dark vessel, watching a stolen projection of Horizon's bridge. He removed the cracked remains of a second black key from his palm. Then he smiled beneath his helmet. Captain Kai. The projection changed. A forgotten route lit up in gold. The same route Horizon had just revealed. The hostile turned toward the stars. Then let us see which of us reaches them first.